Welcome, viewers, to another edition of Disability and You. We're in Autism Awareness Month, and with me in studio today is Angelina Bishpati, and she's the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Sameir Uniquely ME, which is a school or a therapy center, as some might call it, that provides service to children who are autistic. They currently have one location and they're in the process of establishing another. So Angelina will share with us information on some of the services that she provides along with her staff at her center on the west coast of Demerara. Angelina will also discuss a bit about autism and what persons can expect here in Guyana. So Angelina, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ganesh.
Excellent. So tell us a bit about Sameir Uniquely Me and what persons, or tell us about the center then.
So Sameir Uniquely Me was formed because of Sameir, who is my son on the spectrum of autism, and he'll be 20 in next month. Sameir Uniquely Me provides ABA services, which is a applied behavior analysis. It's the only scientific proven program to work with children with autism and to see changes in behavior and bridging the gaps that are between a child on the spectrum and a typical learning or developed child. Sameir Uniquely Me provide speech. We provide screening. So we screen a child for autism, speech impairment, or learning disorders. And then we provide individual-based programs for those children who have the gap wherever they fall in that. It meet the child weaknesses and strengths. We provide behavioral therapy and we provide educational development, also academic skills, speech impairment, and whatever that child may need to bring them up to levels. We also work with a child, preparing them for preschool, and to help them in those level that they need, wherever, if they're able to go inclusive classroom, how do we help them? What behavior plans we need for them in that school, and to guide them and support them throughout school, their process in school
life.
Yes.
So that's quite interesting because there are a number of questions I want to ask based on what you would have said. You said the school was started based on your experience with your son, and I'm sure you saw an existing gap there. How long was the school or the center formed?
Sameir Uniquely Me was formed in 2019, right before the pandemic started. And that was when Sameir was no longer able to go to the school that he was attending. And so I moved, I had to create something for him. And by doing that, I also provide the service that I could offer to other children, knowledge that I already have, and what I have learned and studied for many years. For over 11 years, I've been studying ABA and how to work with children with autism. And so Sameir Uniquely Me was born to help families and kids to meet their potential and not to have them shut away, but to give them the opportunity that everyone else are receiving and they need to have.
What has been the response from persons, not just in the West Demerara, or not just in the West Demerara area, but countrywide? What has been the response to the service that you provide?
Tremendous response. We are linked with Dr. Hardat Prasad from Woodlands Hospital, and so I have seen families from Berbice, Essequibo, the whole of Demerara, throughout this country, Bartica, you name a region, we have seen children. I have seen families, done screening for them. I have traveled, I've done screening in some orphanages. I have traveled, and now families are coming on the West Coast to access that service.
So basically you do, from what I gathered here, you do some home service.
Yeah, we provide home services for those families who first, whatever reason, cannot access Sameir Uniquely Me, we provide home services for younger children, children who are early diagnosis or who we have inconclusive diagnosis for, who are really, really young. So with those children, we will provide some therapy to help them to do interaction, playing, to build that gap so it don't increase. Before that gap increases more, we would have therapy for that child to help them in their play and in their learning and their interaction for those children, the younger children.
Uh, Angelina, you mentioned that you do an individual plan for every child, and you also provide behavioral therapy for children that might go into mainstream schools. Have you had many children who would have passed through the center or would have accessed your services and went on to the mainstream schools?
Yes, we have, and I've been supporting most of those children. They also come in the afternoon for services where we continue to work with them.
So they go to the mainstream schools in the morning and they come
Yeah.
access your service in the afternoon.
In the afternoon, yes. And we also provide help to the teacher in classroom. I will go into the school and help the teacher to understand the child's level and how can you make the most out of that day for that child. Because many times they're not able to follow the instructions based on chalkboard, what they call chalkboard learning. So we will show the teacher how to work with that child to make that day productive, and they don't just sit there and lost in that classroom.
But one of the questions that I want to ask, are these children in the public schools or are they in private schools?
A few are in public schools and a few are in different private schools.
Because you mentioned working with the class teacher to work with those children. And I'm thinking to myself that it might be difficult in some of our public schools where, the teachers have a high number of children to deal with and there's no teacher aid. I know the ministry, they're working on changing this. So, I wanted to ask that question. Angelina, you mentioned about, or before we went on air, about expansion. What's the next step in this area for Sameir Uniquely Me?
Well, the reason for the other location is one that families from Georgetown, families from Berbice are coming on the West Coast. And I spend a lot of time traveling to different homes on the East Coast side to give home services. So because we could have those children or those family not make that long haul to the West Coast, they could come more often on the East Coast rather than coming all the way to West Coast. And those family that I am doing home services for can access more hours of therapy for that child development. That is the key reason for the new location, is to help more families, making therapy accessible consistently for more families. And why I say families is because autism doesn't affect a child only. It affects a family. A family has to be the one that is willing to stand and stick with that child, to help the child and support the child through therapy. And when that child develops, the entire family benefits from that child's development.
That's so true. And where would this new location be?
It will be in Better Hope of the Lying Top. Really quiet location, very good. We're excited to be starting there. It will be starting in May.
Okay, so May will be the opening of that school. Let's go back to something you mentioned about families. What has been your experience with Sameir? Let's say first when he was diagnosed as being on the spectrum, what was your reaction as a parent?
As a parent, when I heard the word autism, of course I didn't know what it was, but I wanted more for my son. I had my father support and my mom support, who encouraged me to find out what was wrong with Sameir. 18 years ago, there was absolutely nothing. And we were lost, but my father was the one that encouraged me to find out what was wrong with Sameir. I have had my sisters being great support, even learning what is autism and how to help with Sameir. Um, it has been a struggle. My kids, my other kids, his Sameir siblings, had to make a lot of sacrifices because having a child with special needs, you have to give that child, whether you want to or not, more attention than you will give your other kids who are typically developed. And so the entire family have to be a part of that for it to be a balance. That has been very challenging for me, but the goal has remained the same, is that whatever Sameir was, he would have the best quality of life within that. And I will do everything that I can to give him as much of a normal life that he can have.
Mhm. You know, I wanted to get out from you that personal experience because you're one that is part of a minority, and that is parents who are willing, parents of children with disabilities who are willing to go out there and seek information, seek guidance to help in the development of their child with a disability. Um, what about schooling? What about his interaction with the education system?
That has from beginning has been a challenge. One is Samir did not like to be in crowds. He didn't like to go out. So the challenge was getting him into a play school. So I spent 2.5 years with him, half day in a play school. I spent almost 3.5 years in the nursery system because he wasn't intellectually there where he should be. So he spent a longer time, and all I wanted is for him to be social, learn to interact and be there for that interaction, mixing with children. That was my goal then, to be more social, be more a part and involved in things around him. And at the age of 8, he could not go there anymore. So he went to nursery up to the age of 8. And I was very well supported by those teachers from the nursery school who have been there for Sameir and myself. So we spent there almost 4 years there. And then Sameir was 8 and nothing then after that. I was one of the founder member for a school with children with autism, Step by Step Foundation, where he spent another 7 years there. At the end of that 7 years, and I, throughout that process, I went overseas, went to Boston, Massachusetts, trained under Dr. Ellis in Massachusetts in ABA, Applied Behavior Analysis, and Dr. Jim Ellis is a BCBA, a board certified clinical psychologist, and a speech pathologist, Carrie Davis. And throughout those 7 years, I've trained and worked with them. They are also part of Sameir Uniquely Me and will be here in May to meet with families and help families.
So, what, Angelina, you mentioned those two persons that are overseas. So they're part of your assessment team, from what I gathered.
Yes, they are. And they are part of the service provided by Sameir Uniquely Me.
So let's say, for instance, a parent whom probably the pediatrician advised them to seek an assessment of their child. What's the process? Talk us through that process.
So that will be the doctor will give them a referral to us, and then we will have the screening done at Sameir Uniquely Me. Information will be taken from the child, observation, because autism can only be diagnosed through observation of the child's behavior. And so that will be done. That information will be sent and shared with our speech pathologist, Carrie Davis, and Dr. Jim Ellis. And then we will together give the diagnosis, a conclusive diagnosis of where the child fall, or if it is in the spectrum of autism and what level. Then the program is set for the child for receiving therapy.
Okay, so
Sameir Uniquely.
it starts with the assessment,
Yes, it does.
then therapy, and then
Yes.
I assume at the same time you do education development.
Yes.
All right. What's the student population currently of Sameir Uniquely Me?
Sameir Uniquely Me has, so because of the amount of children, we have like 21 enrolled under us. But we are not a service that provide from 8 to 12 or 8 to, for all our kids. It's based on the child ability to stay and based on the length of period of time the child can access therapy. We increase it as the child develop. Also, we have it in that system because we cannot provide quality programs within the ABA methodology for all these children at a given time. So we cannot have 21 children at our center.
Because a lot of one-on-one.
Yes, because
learning.
the way it is done. So because of that, we staggered, or we have the kids come based on hourly services, or how that work.
Excellent. All right, Angelina, anything else you want to mention to my viewers, especially parents who have children that have autism or they are exhibiting signs of being on the spectrum? You are both a parent and a specialist, someone that provides a service. So you can speak to them from two different perspectives as you've been doing. But any final thoughts to leave with them?
Yes. One, as a parent, a mother, a father, and I must say this before I move on. I would like to give a shout out to all those fathers who have been so supportive. I have seen an increase in fathers being supportive to their children and to their wife when their child exhibit signs. In my experience and previous years, the reluctance in fathers acknowledging that something is different with their child has been very, very limited. So shout out to all those fathers who are so supportive and always show up at the screening for their child. Now, to parents, when you have your child and if the little nagging doubt comes in your mind that something is not right, don't wait. Go to your doctor. If you go to a 5 minutes, 15 minutes visit with your doctor, he will not be able to pick up what is wrong with your child. You have to share with your doctor the things that are bothering you, the things that you see, how your child is developing, what is not there that it should be there. You have to share those information with your doctor. Ask them question why it's not happening. How, what do I do to develop that? Find help for your child. If one doctor tell you to wait, then that's not a good advice, I would say, in my opinion. Find help. Find some other doctor. Find out what is read and find what is wrong with your child. Find someone to give you answers.
And what about those parents who their children would have been diagnosed quickly? What you have to tell them, because I know frustration, will step in.
Therapy works. Interventive therapy. You need to find therapy for your child. Don't worry, don't be scared of the word therapy, but you need to find help for your child. Don't leave your child alone. That gap will only increase. It will not go away. It will not fix itself. You have to find intervention program for your child, and that is the best thing you can do for your child.
All right. Angelina, I want to thank you very much for sharing with my viewers. And I wish you best of luck with the expansion of Sameir Uniquely Me. And I'm sure the center will continue to expand, providing services to persons across Guyana. Viewers, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ganesh.
Injustice. I want injustice. I want injustice.
Injustice not available. We have Naruto.
Naruto. I want Naruto.
Okay, here you go. Naruto, all done. What do you want? Naruto, working for Naruto. Ready? What is it?
Fish.
Fish. Ready? Clear it. Clear. What is it?
Cat.
Nice job. Now you get Naruto. Ready? Naruto, all done. Let's do receptive. Good hands. Give me car. Car. Nice job. Ready? Give me apple. Give me apple. Ready? Give me apple. Apple. That's apple. Nice job. Give me kite. That's a kite. Nice job. Ready? Give me apple. Apple. Ready? Give me apple. Apple. Nice job. Now you get Naruto.